DK Yoo is on the radar of YouTube viewers for at least a few years now. He exhibits impressive speed and a seemingly unique approach to martial arts and fighting. Yoo has become so popular and impressed some people so much that many go as far as comparing him to the legendary Bruce Lee. At the same time, there are plenty of people who question him and don't rush to worship his methods. After seeing yet another DK Yoo video pop on my YouTube feed, I stopped and asked myself, is he really the next Bruce Lee? I felt an opinion start to take shape in the back of my mind, but then stopped to admit, I don't really know. So I decided to put on my investigative hat and to find out an answer, not based on a first impressions conclusion, but instead on solid arguments. My first question was, what is the main reason people compare DK Yoo with Bruce Lee? As I looked at countless DK videos, I started to see one possible reason. First of all, it's likely that Yoo draws inspiration directly from Lee himself. The clear hint of that is DK constantly demonstrating the 1-inch punch, which Bruce was famously known for. Granted, the 1-inch punch also seems to be a reflection of DK's philosophy, which we'll compare with Bruce's philosophy in a moment. Yoo essentially speaks of developing kinetic energy by engaging the whole body as a whip. It makes sense for him to demonstrate his approach by using the 1-inch punch. Yet is it likely that DK is demonstrating the 1-inch punch without imitating Bruce Lee himself? We can't say for sure, but I can say that him using the 1-inch punch definitely makes other people think of Lee and to start comparing them. Another likely reason why these two martial artists are compared is because of how they move. First of all, they both exhibit impressive speed. The way they move in a relaxed and somewhat free manner, suddenly bursting in speedy motion, bears resemblance. Is it a coincidence that their movements are similar? Again, we can't say for sure, but that definitely offers one more possible argument why DK Yoo and Bruce Lee are compared. The third reason I couldn't stop myself thinking of was that they are both of East Asian descent. Now, I know how tricky it can be to speak of this subject, especially these days, so I decided to ask for an educated opinion instead. I went on to none other than Jerry of Fight Commentary Breakdowns to ask him this question, since Jerry is knowledgeable in martial arts and he is of East Asian descent himself. First of all, Jerry expressed similar thoughts to my initial considerations by saying, I think the main reason DK Yoo gets compared to Bruce Lee because DK seems to move in a unique way that to the untrained eye looks like an amazing martial artist. So the main reason he gets compared to Bruce Lee is because of the movement similarities at face value. The second reason he gets compared to Bruce Lee is the style of demonstrations. Both DK and Bruce make use of large crowds, assistants who let the masters show off, and a general atmosphere of, this is some mind-blowing shit you're watching. He then reflected on the race question. The third reason DK gets compared to Bruce Lee is the Asian factor. But if I were to quantify the percentages on a pie chart, it would be 70% because he moves kind of like Bruce Lee to the untrained eye, 20% because of the way he demonstrates, and 10% solely because he's a cool-looking Asian dude. Jerry also added, by the way, his Chinese name is Yoo Da-jong, so from now on, I'm going to call him that. If a white guy or black guy did the same stuff as Yoo Da-jong, I think the similarities would be evoked too. But then people used to call me Jackie Chan, and I'm no Jackie Chan, so maybe I'm discounting how much non-Asians think Asians look alike. Also, Barry Manilow looks like Rod Stewart. Having considered these three factors, it became quite clear why people compare DK with Bruce. So now, it is time to ask the main question. Is DK Yoo really the next Bruce Lee? I wanted to start by comparing their philosophies. At first glance, it could seem like it's another commonality which makes people compare these two martial artists. Bruce and DK are both seemingly innovative and creative in their approach. They both speak about calming down the mind, but besides that, when taking a closer look at their philosophies, I started to see a big gap. Bruce Lee is commonly acknowledged as a martial arts revolutionary. He spoke about concepts such as the importance of open-mindedness and cross-training in martial arts when almost no one else was talking about it. He challenged the world of martial arts and brought about an important discussion which was barely existing at the time. Meanwhile, DK Yoo primarily focuses on exploring the dynamics of motion. He speaks of such concepts as spine mobility, the importance of pelvic movement, and grounding by standing still. That is not to say that it's a bad approach or philosophy, but it's far from revolutionary. DK is potentially very good at presenting these concepts, but they are not new or groundbreaking. Looking at the softer side of their philosophies, both Lee and DK don't have a shortage of inspirational quotes. But here, I cannot stop from comparing the scale of them. Granted, DK is only 42 years old. He does look pretty damn good for his age, and his career is still in development. But Bruce, in his 32 years of living, delivered countless of immortal phrases such as, "Be water, my friend," and "Absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is essentially your own." This phrase, by the way, seems to have been taken from Mao Zedong, but it would be difficult to deny that Bruce made this phrase popular. In other words, Lee's philosophy reached, shaped the whole globe, and continues to do so today. A lot of what he brought to the table was fresh and new to people. While DK's philosophy is great and potentially inspiring, I am doubtful if it will ever be as impactful. Yet the point which was most influential for me in deciding if DK Yoo is the next Bruce Lee was their perspective on fighting. First off, it's interesting to note that both DK and Lee have a shortage of footage of them fighting. As far as I could find, there's only one film of Bruce sparring. In it, he displays incredible speed and reflexes, but it's not really fighting. While his movement is impressive, it's not a full-on bout where Bruce is being attacked full force with a complete dedication of his opponent to beat him. Other than that, all of Bruce Lee's fighting stories are anecdotal. In order to know just how much of a great fighter Bruce Lee really was, we would need to see more footage of him fighting against fully devoted opponents. Disclaimer, I am not saying that Bruce Lee didn't have amazing abilities, but what I am trying to say was really well put by MMA coach, former professional fighter, and YouTube personality Ramsey Dewey. In his video about Bruce Lee, Ramsey says, "It's a whole different thing being a conceptual martial artist versus being a fighter." Ramsey explains that there are people who possess amazing athletic skills, but that does not mean they would do well in a fight. Same goes for Bruce Lee. Based on Ramsey, even if Bruce did win fights in the street, that is still not the same as fighting and winning against professional fighters. Without seeing him do that, we can't really know how really of a great fighter he was or wasn't. Dewey then confirms that Bruce was an amazing martial artist, who had incredible skills and martial arts philosophy, but that is simply not the same as being a good fighter. The same can be said about DK Yoo. There are very few videos of DK sparring, and even in the videos he does, it's either very light sparring or sparring against opponents who don't seem to be at a very high level. In a video analysis made by former UFC fighter Bradley Scott and Joe Mangini on their channel The Fight Bible, where they take a look at DK Yoo's sparring footage, neither of them are impressed. They both praise the teaching skills of DK, but they assess that his sparring abilities are of low level. That is not even to speak about his fighting abilities. But the problem that I have here is something different. It is difficult to assess the actual fighting skills of Bruce or DK, but what we can assess is their perspective and understanding of fighting. In the book The Making of Enter the Dragon, director Robert Clouse tells a story when Lee was screening a Muhammad Ali documentary and revealed what he thought would happen if the two ever fought. During the screening, Lee said, "Look at my hand. That's a little Chinese hand. Ali would kill me." Judging from this statement and other quotes from Bruce Lee about the reality of fighting, he was well aware of his limitations and knew that he was no match for a professional fighter such as Muhammad Ali. In a way, this rational thinking was what made Bruce great. Meanwhile, DK Yoo was recorded saying with confidence that he could take on any MMA fighter.
If you were to get into MMA today, if Dana White gave you a contract, do you think you could hang and fight with some of the other guys? Like, do you watch it and say, I think I can beat that guy? Do you think about that?
So what he's saying is, first of all, he respects all MMA fighters and, what they're doing for the industry and everything. But when it comes down to it, if UFC or Dana White's willing to come up with the fight, that has an enthused audiences, he's saying that he can fight anybody.
So you think you can fight anybody? Yeah. You're that confident?
Yes, Conor McGregor, he pointed him out. But
you think you can fight anybody and go up against these guys?
Yes, sir. It doesn't matter.
And you're not afraid. You would do it.
두려움 없이 할 거냐?
Oh yes, of course. I don't afraid.
That is a very big claim without any evidence to back it up, leading me to consider that DK Yoo may be far from realistic in understanding his limitations, showing yet another big difference between himself and Lee. Are there evident reasons why some people think that DK Yoo is the next Bruce Lee? There clearly are. But is he? Personally, I don't think so. If you're interested to learn how 6 guys attacked me and what happened because of it, click on this video right here. Thank you for watching, and I wish you to own your journey.